It's being called Sir Keir's most controversial move yet, a crackdown on those claiming benefits. Now, what's the time now? It's bang on 12:30. Work and Pensions Secretary Liz Kendall is about to start talking in the Commons to deliver a statement on the government's welfare reform. There they all gathered there. We should get the detail of it really soon, but there's been a lot of talk about it over the past few days about what they assume is going to be in this announcement. Now, it's said that the government is going to target those with milder mental health issues and lower level physical conditions that they could see their personal independent payments cut. It's expected to target those with sickness and disability benefit payments. And let's take a look at the numbers before we get into the discussion about it, because the pre-pandemic bill for PIP was £13.7 billion a year. Post-pandemic, it's now £21.8 billion a year, and it's expected to go up to £34.1 billion a year by 2030. So we're not talking about small numbers here, we're talking about quite large numbers, but we're also talking about individuals who will be impacted by this. What do you think, Glo?
Well, there's a little phrase that I find this subject quite disturbing because I haven't quite worked it out in my mind what they're going to say today in Parliament and how they're going to work this out in terms of assessment. And there is a phrase that says who could work and who should work, because as we know, it's a balancing act between economics, as you've just given the figures about money, and welfare. And that really is the balance that, that the government have to try and work out. My big worry about it is who's going to carry out a positive assessment to make sure that it's fair. Because, I've watched people over the last couple of weeks, and honestly, I could cry for them because they're badly disabled. Everybody's worried about money. I bet if we took everybody in our audience, we're all concerned about money. And when people are on a benefit, whatever that benefit is and wherever it comes from, life is hard at the minute. And so if they think... I've seen people cry on TV because they don't know how their life is going to go forward. But, of course, when you read out money like that and figures like that, something has to be done. It's a question of whatever is announced today is fair and worked out properly, because we just know the difference. There are some who work the system to their advantage, and there's some people who are really disadvantaged and they need it. So we just have to wait and see. I can't wait to sort of hear the result today, what he suggests.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is none of us are against the people that truly, truly need, this disability funding. Nobody would begrudge them that. I think the problem is there's a lot of people, and there is quite a lot of people, that know how to work the system. And so I'm slightly concerned of how on earth they're going to work that out.
Yeah.
Because, I've met people over time who have gone, oh, yeah, I do this and I do that and I get this much for it. And I'm looking at them thinking, well, you could go to work, It's like... And nowadays, even if you can't actually physically go to work for these people, you can work from home nowadays, on laptops and that, but they don't want to. And there's also people that don't go to work because if they lose their disability pension, they can't afford to live. So they have to work that out as well. If you're trying to encourage people to go back, you've got to give them that encouragement to go back.
But what... Before we move on from that point, what's really interesting, what's thought to be coming in today is the right to try scheme. So if you are in these payments and you do meet the criteria to go back out to work, you can test going out to work without losing your benefits. So if it doesn't work, then you will still get your benefits.
Yeah. That's interesting, because I'm not surprised in that dramatic increase post-lockdown, because I think some genuine mental health problems would have arisen from lockdown. People lost family businesses, people had genuine deep depression, mental health breakdowns, agoraphobia, not wanting to leave the house. So, of course, that's going to be the fallout from having a lockdown like that. And whilst I agree with everything that's been said on the panel today, you don't want the people that need it the most to suffer. And I do think it's morally wrong when you're claiming something that you don't need and you're taking it away from somebody else. I can see why some people decide it's a better option for them. Because, the cost of living crisis, the price of food in the supermarket, the utility bills, the mortgage rates, and then people go out to work and get less money from going out to work and then have to pay for childcare and then have to pay for transport.
So how are they going to police that? That's my...
And one final question, I know you're stuck for time, but are the employers allowing enough jobs, suitable jobs for people who are a bit
Worthwhile
disabled,
jobs, yeah.
so that they can have a job that they enjoy. That's the other question.
People are entitled to a worthwhile employment
course,
as
yeah.
well. you
Yeah,
know.
and I think when people can see those who are less advantaged having money taken away, then people will also want those who are the most advantaged, to the richer in the country. But they'd also like to make sure that they're also being able to give their fair share to society as well. But we did do a poll on this, and actually 48% of you agree that these changes would be a good thing.